Learning AI community, Pi and AI Abuja. Today we will be looking at multilingual AI, breaking the language barrier and fostering inclusion and global innovation. So, first of all, before we hand over the mic to our guest, we would make a little introduction to what multilingual AI is all about. So, multilingual AI is, should we just call it the ability of artificial intelligence systems to understand, process, and generate content in multiple languages? So, we know very well that these systems are by default designed to work in English, but not everybody speaks English. And to make innovation and the accessibility to artificial intelligence, it is very necessary that it should be able to work with and work on other languages. So that's what basically multilingual AI is all about. Some major key capabilities of multilingual AI includes understanding various language, ability to comprehend text or speech in various languages, and also you should be able to generate those languages and translate them, and you could create chatbots or assistants using this multilingual AI, so they are able to interact with users in their own native language. We know very well that if this is achieved, um, more inclusion will be would be achieved. People wouldn't have to first of all learn English before they are able to work with or work on artificial intelligence system. So today we are going to hear from our resource person as she explains to us how multilingual AI is breaking language barriers to power global inclusion and innovation. So our resource person today is Christiana Oyewale, and she's the ambassador of WIDS. So I am handing over the mic to Christiana. Let us hear from you and gain from your wealth of knowledge.
Okay, thank you so much, Nika, for that wonderful introduction. Apologies, my background might be quite distracting or noisy. I have some kids around me, then my friends, the family, all of them. It's weekend, so the kids of my friends are actually around. Yeah, so kindly allow me to share my screen. I think I require permission to do that. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, so can you see my slide? Trying to put it in presentation mode. I have to do that, yeah. Oh, where is it again? Yeah, done. Okay, so like the coordinator mentioned, multilingual AI is about having language diversity, not necessarily bringing things to English before translating to other language. Yeah, so let me begin by thanking military school in Benue State. There I graduated as the overall best student in entire sets. Then I took direct entry form before completing my study to studied mathematics and computer science at Federal University of Agriculture, Makurdi. And there too, I was the only first class graduate. Um, I worked for some time before like going for my first master's in computer science at University of Ibadan. There also, I was the best graduating student. Then I got a scholarship to study master's in collective intelligence in um, Mohammed VI Polytechnic University, popularly known as UMCSP in Morocco. So within my study, recently I got a PhD admission um, at the Affective Computing Lab, which mainly focus on human interaction and artificial intelligence at Simon Fraser University in Canada. Yeah, so um, I started working immediately after my national diploma, while I was waiting for ASU strike to be called off before uh, my bachelor degree education. So, but before then, I don't know if you might be familiar with Esquire College of ICT. They have campuses in Ogbomoso, Ibadan, Lagos, Abuja. So it's from them that uh, I got motivated into computing because as at when I was finishing my secondary school, I never have idea of what I wanted to proceed with. So getting a scholarship from them exposed me to what computer science is, and I went to study computer science for my national diploma. So with the motivation of being a software engineer, I applied to panel technology in Benue State, Makurdi. So since I love to teach, uh, being motivated to teach my classmates when they were not understanding what was taught in class about database management, so made the company to like convert my studentship to work. So that was like my picture when I was working as a software engineer in the company. So I managed schools for Favor Cafe, then for GTech Technology. So after my bachelor degree, I joined, no, I served in two division medical services and hospital in Ibadan. I was supposed to serve in UI, but I eventually changed to the barracks. So after my service, I became the HOD of ICT department in the hospital. Then within that time too, I joined a school in Canada called ITD Canada remotely. I was in charge of student service and some other department that is in charge of internship for students and the like. So within that time too was when I was doing my master's in UI, and my supervisor uh, wanted me to be his TA. So I served as a TA for him and also for another lecturer. Uh, so I left ITD, then joined BFL, which is Battlefield Fighting League, is one of the most popular wrestling company in Canada. There I am one of their marketer, and they have homes, like they have over 50 houses in Canada. So I am their property manager and the tenancy relating officer. Yeah, so mainly when it comes to community development is what keeps me happy. So you can easily see me with children, teaching them coding, with girls, motivating them because like I didn't know my mom, but um, I don't really take no for life. Like if I set my mind to something, I ensure that I go for it. So which has helped me to travel across different countries in Africa, in Asia, in Europe, and in North America. Yeah, so the current project I was in Nigeria for, it's a year project, is training over 2,000 girls in that's encouraging them to embrace STEM, which mainly what I handle. My team member handle some other aspects. What I handle is introducing them to coding and also robotics. Yeah, so some of these pictures that you're seeing are the schools that we picked in Ibadan, in Makurdi, and in Uyo. Yeah. Research is something that I take very seriously because like I kind of take a little break from industry because I felt that research that's I need I need additional skill like research skill to be able to put things together. And no matter how good we are, if you don't document, it's more or less like it doesn't really exist. So sharing knowledge too is important. So research has helped me in traveling to different countries, Germany, China, Italy, Paris, Canada, and the like. Yeah, so um, I always engage in presenting my research and also community services. Yeah, so now let's go into the main reason why we are here. We go through this. That's I'll start with telling you the evolution of multilingual AI technologies to how multilingual AI. One, yeah, sorry about that. How multilingual AI enhances global collaboration, challenges faced in developing multilingual AI, then to case studies of successful multilingual AI application. After that, I'll go into the future of multilingual AI in global market, then end the presentation with the strategies for implementing multilingual AI solution. Yes, so starting with the first on our list, taking us through like a brief of how machine translations began. Those from computing background might be familiar with the if-else kind of thing, which is a form of a rule base that is giving. I'm trying to like not assume that everybody have like computing background and some technical skill. So, but if I'm still unable to like go really down, break things down, you can note down your questions and at the end of the presentation, then ask me. So after the rule-based uh, era, that was when the statistics came into place. And we know that statistics is something that is very strong for those that practice machine learning. You might have heard of the statistical models like linear regression, logistic regression, and the like. So after that comes the neural network. That is the time that neural network started doing some of this machine translation. And natural language processing also came in place for us to put our own language into machine. So, and we know that the era of big data was when things started really booming, though the researchers uh, in big data, they have not really been able to give me a form of convincing definition of what a data is. How big can a data be? And at times when they want to like give that definition, they run into like conflict with those that are practicing sustainability, climate change, and the like. Yeah, so um, the amount of multilingual data that is available for training all these AI model is also came into place and helping these models to be able to understand, to be able to do what it is they are required to do. They're now talking about like the cross-lingual transfer. Do we need to like transfer from, for example, let's take the three main languages in Nigeria. Do I need to transfer from Yoruba to English? Then English now go to Igbo, or from Igbo to English, then English now to Hausa. So how can we do like a form of cross lingua such that I don't need to like translate to English before translating to Igbo. Um, Transfer learning can help in this context such that because like translating to English might lose some form of contextual meaning. So but a form of model that behaves well, maybe to a certain language, might be able to like perform well in another language. So moving forward, what are now the challenges in multilingual AI? We know that some of these languages have some form of ambiguity. They might be quite complex. They might have some form of ambiguity like idioms, some things that require some contextual understanding for you to be able to deal with them. So then another challenge is how do we balance accuracy and language richness? One of the things that they are tackling in research, that's machine learning people, is because like a lot of researchers are interested that, oh, my accuracy is higher than this person accuracy, but leaving some other aspects. So how do we now balance accuracy and language richness to be able to have a form of trade-off while we are pursuing accuracy, we also preserve a form of richness and the originality of such language. Then talking about ethical consideration in multilingual AI, we need to also start thinking of ethics, thinking about biases, privacy, and even the way that we use all these AI model. Then moving forward to the last point here, that is talking about adaptability of diverse language. Like we know, okay, I'm from Oyo State. I speak Oyo Yoruba, but there are other form of Yoruba like Ekiti have their dialect. Those from Ondo have their dialect. How do we accommodate all this and be able to train all these models to be able to not only pick the main, okay, almost everybody speak the main, that's the Oyo Yoruba, but can it perform well when it encounters other other form of Yoruba like Ekiti, Ijesha, and the like? Yeah, so Talking about the advancement in multilingual AI, we really need a form of real-time translation. During my master's in collective intelligence in Morocco, they speak diverse language like Arabic, Darija, uh, that's their main language is Darija, which is a form of Arabic. They speak French and they speak English. So the school is have students from all African countries. And you know, most Africa, I don't know if I should say most, but we know that we are divided, like some speak French and why some speak English. They call those that speak French francophone, while we that speak English anglophone. So those from the francophone countries, to an extent, they were able to really integrate easily into the Moroccan context than we, the Anglophone, because French is one of the strong languages spoken in Morocco. But like things that have to do with Arabic and French for the Anglophone, we normally have a problem like communicating with drivers, with people in the market and the like. But when we have this multilingual AI that could do a form of real-time translation, like I want to go to the market, I need to tell the driver something like describe where I'm going to, even if I cannot pronounce the name of the area very well. So such model will help in that context. Then we know in the era of voice assistance, um, most of the voice assistants currently are in English language. And we even know that the way we Nigerians speak English is different from the way Ghanaians speak. So, talk less of our local dialect, aside, aside textual translation, the putting these models in form of a form of voice assistant is also very important, so that even if I need, for example, I need to go, I'm in the market and like I don't have the time to be typing, I can do a voice message in my language, then translate to the Derija, I play it to the market man or the market woman. So these are one of the advancements that we can think of in multilingual AI. So they also help in enhancing language understanding. Like when we're talking about like, when we have like, sorry, I'm distracted by the children. When we have like languages, even like, for example, to an extent, the 2 years I stayed in Morocco, I was able to pick some French, pick some Derija, such that even when those that speak Arabic, when they speak at least the greetings, the morning, that's pronouncing like the morning, like morning in their language, also to an extent helped me to, it's helped me to like be able to, when I find myself in that context, to be able to flow, though not perfectly to an extent. So such can also help in our language understanding. Then we don't have to also restrict our educational settings to some form of languages, like only English. We can have schools that are now providing tools, helping students to learn mathematics in Yoruba, learn mathematics in Igbo, learn uh, um, in any language. One of the thing I found very interesting in the school I did, my primary school and secondary school, is that it's form of diverse, such that we have lecturers from different uh, parts of Nigeria. We have Igbo, we have Hausa, we have Yorubas, we are from different parts. So it's part of what helped me to an extent to be able to pick people's tonation, the way they speak. So integrating this into education is quite very useful. So what are now the future prospects for multilingual AI? We can start from being a bilingual to multilingual. So we can start by, okay, I want to have a model that's that is able to behave well to two languages before moving um, to multiple languages. I've done some business pitches such that they told me, oh, you're too ambitious. Like this, to an extent, I presented this a program, an AI program. So the the starting from taking a baby step approach is, to me, is something very interesting than, okay, jumping to multi. So it's also good, like having uh, bilingual language skill, then like now advancing to multilingual. So now talking about the global communication and cultural exchange, we know that even like, for example, when I was in China last year, I needed to buy things on their app. They were all in Chinese. Let's say, for example, I cannot speak English because like what I did was I was able to perfectly buy things. What I did was to do a form of real-time translation by carrying one phone, which have the app, and the other phone using like image to text translation, um, using Google Translate. So if such is in my language, it can easily translate Yoruba to Chinese without having to go through English. Yeah, so it can help us now to like start like exchanging things globally and also culturally. So then we know the importance of ling people in linguistic. It will help us to collaborate together. That's the AI guys and those in linguistic. They will be able to like do things together, share insight together, and be able to help these models to perform better. Then we cannot do without those in policy, those in form of planning. So we should also consider how we can start engaging the policymakers. And we know like there are different languages for different things, especially in tech. We come up with different languages. At times we need the same thing, but we just want some kind of show or some kind of like to portray ourselves differently. We can have people called multilingual policymakers, which can help us in supporting the language education and cultural diversity initiative. Yeah, so moving to the second point, how multilingual AI enhances global collaboration. So we need to start understanding the role of this multilingual AI in global collaboration. Just like I mentioned, the experience I had in China was like a form of experience that I didn't have it in Germany. I didn't have in Italy because I didn't have some form of interaction during that time. Yeah, but having Google translating things for me was able to like give me some kind of user experience, though there was some kind of inaccuracy with it, but to an extent, I was able to like combine my expertise with the usage and was able uh, to like collaborate with friends and these things together over there. So this can help us to break language barriers facilitate cross-cultural understanding, enhance international business operations. We know that like Chinese, they are very good with business. Okay, so uh, let's say you want to like collaborate with somebody that doesn't speak English. Yeah, but if we have like model that is able to perform well with your language, then to Chinese, that would be very interesting, right? So, which is why we need to like start thinking, how can we make such possible? Then we should not neglect like education, like the house that I visited. I was like surprised seeing the kids learning, learning, le they could speak like four languages as Arabic, French, English, and Yoruba. So is because this has been integrated into their educational settings so that they are as they're learning mathematics, learning all verbal reasoning and the like, they are learning in local context. They are learning in Derrida, they are learning in French, they are learning in this thing. So we also need to start thinking of how we can integrate such into education. So what are now the challenges and opportunities in multilingual AI implementation? We know that definitely is going to help us technologically. It will get us advanced. Like most of the time, they classify Nigeria to be underdeveloped. But if we have models that are doing fine, it can help us in like if we are able to like position ourselves technologically high outside there, it can actually help boost our economy and move us from where we are placed to a higher place. Then talking about ethical consideration, one thing I like about we African is to an extent that we to an extent, we have a form of open-mindedness. Let me put it like that, such that, for example, if I carry my phone and I'm videoing somebody, uh, it might not be offensive. Like, okay, the person is doing something interesting, not something bad. It might not be a problem than uh, some other people. So, but we also need to like not think of, okay, because if it is done to me, it is not a problem. If somebody snapped me and used me to train an AI model, it might not be a problem. But we have to think globally and find a way, a trade-off such that we don't go into people's privacy and also some form of bias. For example, um, some data sets in Igbo might be available than in Hausa. So how do we deal with things like that? Then we know cultural sensitivity. Culture is something that we really need to respect. We really need to respect. Culture can be very rich, and how how do we respect like because you don't want to like go against some cultural practice for its acceptability sake. Now talking about collaboration, like I mentioned before, setting a project team, most of the time it's good to have a project team that have people from different parastatals, from government, those in form of policy, from different organizations. We have researchers. Like I I post in being in the industry 100% to academics such that I can be able to bridge that gap between the tech guys in the industry and the researchers. So how do we come together to share our expertise, our experience, because collaboration too is very important to make this work and stay. Yeah, so what are now the case studies? Like I've mentioned, Google Translate really helped me, especially in Morocco and in China. So there's also another one called Facebook Language Learning Tool. There's IBM Waterson Language Translation and Microsoft's Translator. So the future prospect and innovations in multilingual AI. This can help in advancement of machine learning techniques. We know like neural network is very powerful. It can help in enhancing accuracy and efficiency of this system. Then we can start personalization and customization. One of the things I found interesting in my lab in Canada is that we believe that everybody is special. So we don't have to like force people to learn how to use some of this system. We will have to build with them, build instead of build for them, build with them so that you can be able to put this system in their own context. Like, for example, we know that we human, we are full of one form of bias or the other. When something is put in my own context, it is easier for me to accept it than when it's put in another context. So customization is very important, allowing people to customize some of this system in the way that they feel okay with. We help this to be sustainable and acceptable. So then we can also start integrating with other technologies like virtual reality, reality, um, uh, yeah, okay, probably for those that are not in tech, um, uh, probably you might have seen some of these devices, some are wearable on the high so that it will put you in some kind of space and you'll be able to like practice some things, interact in space. Then talking about global impact and sustainability. Sustainability is very important. We don't want to have a system today that works today and stop working tomorrow. So what are now the challenges faced in developing multilingual AI? Like uh, most of the time I spend time with my friends, especially the Canadian, teaching them Nigerian language. Okay, like today, I have a Francophone friend that I replied his message with abegu. I said, what is the meaning of abegu? I said, I'm like just saying something like please. And I said, okay, does that mean is I beg? So to an extent, having like a system that's able to like know this different form of language, we have to start thinking of algorithms that can do all of this form of accurate translation and understanding. Talking about that, um, we also know that, okay, for example, in your own main language, you have your own tongue different from others. So it can even be a form of swag that you like developed, like you might have a form of the way you use your words that might not even be a form of something that is global, which is part of the reason why I spoke about like customization. Then in terms of idioms, when I was in school, when we were being taught Yoruba, the aspect I found very difficult is idioms because to an extent, it doesn't have some form of like, you can't even think, aside those that are very good there, to be able to even understand like we know that English, to an extent, English might be easier for us because at times when you read some words, you are able, without being told, you are able to understand. So idioms, how do we start putting all this idiomatic expression into all the system? Very important. Then we know that languages evolved. They evolved. Like the Bible, the Yoruba Bible I was using as a kid, that time is now different from when I became an adult because uh they changed I think me to some other form of uh to some other form of words. We need to also be aware of that languages evolved. Yeah, so data is very important. And the quality of the data is also very important. We know that one of the challenges that we have, like when during one of my classes in collective intelligence, we had a professor that taught us about forecasting, not like the statistical one, uh, but they were able to like do some kind of market prediction such that they brought experts, brought people that are using statistical models and brought non-experts together to be able to like predict some stuff. They noticed that the statistical guys, they were unable to perform well when data is not available, which is why we human, we are very intelligent because we don't even need data all the time to be able to think, to be able to find solution to things, which is why human was able to like provide solution than the companies that were using statistics. So data scarcity for training might be one of the challenges that we might face to have this system working. Then the quality of the data to an extent, I started thinking about why do we always need to clean data? Like for my master's in UI, I collected suicide data sets from a research team in India. They translated the suicide notes were in different languages in India, but they got some linguistic guys that were able to translate into English. So I did normal thing that we did, split in training, validation, and test sets, got good accuracy like we always pursue. But when I now did like cross data set testing, the model fumbled. So I now went back to like you read about that data set. I noticed that during this translation, it has lost some form of contextual um, richness. So, how do we ensure that when we are training this model, we are training this model with good quality data? We also need to start thinking about that. Then we need to also balance language. Yeah, Nigeria, for example, Nigeria is so big, but we summarize Nigeria into three languages. We summarize it into Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba. What about other languages? We also need to start thinking about them. Uh, while schooling in Makodi, I learned how to speak a bit of Tiv and a bit of Idoma. So, to an extent, in Benue State, Tiv is a popular language, but other like Idoma, Igede, and the likes were not popular. So, how do we balance this language so that we are not training these models with popular languages, but also with those that are not even known? Because there are some languages that we ourselves in Nigeria we've not heard about. Then we need to also think of updating these data sets. updating them and maintaining them over time in order to improve all this AI performance. Now, talking about culture, I like culture. I like most of my friends, they know me. When we are discussing, I try to see whatever thing they are saying, how I can see like what make us similar and what make us dissimilar. The From there, we from with my francophone friends, I was able to know that in Nigeria we call somebody that call people to enter bus conductor, but the francophone call a driver conductor instead. So we know that, yeah, culture is something that is very important. The way we put our words, the way we put our phrases, and the way they have different meaning. One thing having different meaning in different culture, we also need to be aware of such. There's sarcasm. I think one of my friends that work on sarcasm in pidgin notice like there are a form of barrier in research regarding this. Like I'm from Oyo State, that from what I picked from my parents, they don't speak everything by words. They speak, you have to combine so many things, combine the little thing they say with their facial expression to their body and uh, uh, to be able to understand what they're saying. And some words are not like different from idioms that are not like directly like they are said. That people can be sarcastic. We also need to start thinking about that, and also like uh making this AI model to be able to also perform well in that regard. Then we need to think of political and social sensitivity is actually very important. Local idioms and slang, I've mentioned that before. Ethics is very, very important. I belong to like an organization formed for Europe that's talking about data ethics. It's called sorry, I forgot the name. To an extent, we've not for the past 5 months, we've not been able to like come up with some aspects of ethics when it comes to data. But we came up with like some working documents uh to like support like, because like for example, each of us have our own form of biases. Even when we are saying this, we say no, I cannot do this. I cannot allow my data, I cannot allow somebody to use my image to train model. I cannot allow somebody to use my voice to train model. I cannot allow somebody to. So how do we ensure that we do things ethically and also respect people's privacy? Talking about bias too, mention that then we need to be accountable and transparent. Um, some researchers are interested just in publications, so they come of do some things that we call mago and like feed some stuff into the model and get result. They just want to publish. We don't have to do that. We need to also preserve our language. We need to preserve our language to ensure that, okay, our language don't go into extinction. The fourth, the case studies of successful multilingual AI model. Uh, we have like chatbots. Chatbot is one of the things that my lab uh, look into. I have one of my lab mates that look into conversational AI. So, but like the last one I worked on was I was interested in the facial part of it, like and the vocal part of it. We know some of these voice assistants and maybe female voice, the male voice and wife female picture, and mail picture and the like. So we chatbot is something that is very helpful in that can be very helpful in this talking about customer service. Like for example, like when I was introducing myself, I mentioned I work with like a real estate team. So at times when tenants send me some issues, I'll be like, these are things that chatbot can easily provide assistance. Like, okay, I need to, for example, I need to change my flight. Um, Air France has that service using WhatsApp, such that AI will attend to me first, but if it's unable to solve it, then it transfer to human agent. Yeah, so um, those in businesses, like I kind of respect Amazon with the way they think and implement some of this system. Yeah, so um, aside chatbots are very useful in those businesses regarding like translation for e-commerce, for language localization in software development, and also in educational sector. Uh, so trying to rush. I don't think I have much time again. So yeah, so talking about advancements in this context, we can have like AI generated articles for multilingual news. We don't have to have all our news in English, have all our news in just one language. Then in form of storytelling, in form of entertainment, AI-driven translation in advertisement, in cultural sensitivity, context too. In form of collaboration, such can help us in doing our remote work and uh, like like those from some stuff in collective intelligence we bring group together. So how do we bring group together such that is one language doesn't join them, multiple languages, we leave them to be comfortable in their languages, but we have this implemented in Zoom, in Microsoft Teams, in Google Meet, and the like, such that collaboration discussion can still go on using all these model. Yes, so uh, such will help us in international research, in markets, ethics and future trend. Ethic is something that I always like to talk about. I always like to repeat it because like we don't want to get ourselves in trouble. We've learned about somebody that committed suicide while chatting with AI because AI used a language which was not well understood by such person. The person committed suicide. We don't want to put systems there that can like harm people, which is why it is very important. So uh, for international business operation, we should also start thinking of how we can make this work such that it can help in our communication, in expanding our market. Our market don't have to be in in local context, that we don't have to limit our market to our states of origin, to our nationality. We can expand it to other places, take it to Morocco, take it to Germany, take it to Italy, and the like. And at the very end, our customer experience is very important too. So the technologies that we need to start thinking about that can help us in the multilingual AI context. We should start thinking about the neural machine translation. NLP is something that I really, really like because people are really dedicating time uh, into making an NLP advanced daily. Voice recognition and generation tool is important than contextual understanding. Ethics has been spoken about, and this. So I think this should be the last. So how do we now leverage cloud computing to scalability? You know that in this might require a form of it might be computational expensive. I believe that like the industry and the researchers will be able to find a way in to optimize costs because like those in optimization, they do some form of calculation in terms of time and cost. Yeah. So how do we have like data center? Like, okay, last month I visited a data center in Vancouver. I was even shocked when they said that the data that that reside in their own data center, they don't even have idea of it. So those that are pumping their data there are the one responsible for some of these things. So uh, we also need to like extend collaboration to different data centers such that we can make this work and work effectively. We should not ignore existing system. Uh, what are the APIs that are already existing that can help us in this context without like stopping anything? Then how can we do a form of migration such that like we know that there was a time that GT Bank was doing some upgradation that put life as in put things on hold. How do we do migration such that life continues? We are migrating. People don't even know that something is going on. They don't have to start getting error while using such system. Training and onboarding. Yeah, though we from human computer interaction, uh, we don't really believe in having to really train for people to use system, which is why we develop with instead of developing for. But to an extent, IT staff, you have to like start thinking of how to get them on board so that they can provide so these assistants are very important. Then we need to develop strategies such that we can continuously monitor and update this system, data privacy, model training and optimization. How do we ensure a form of diverse diverse representation of our data sets, continuous learning and adaptation, then uh, how we fine tune our model. Then we have to also start thinking of model evaluation, the metrics. Like my supervisor, she believed like uh, there should be a team that's develop like evaluation metrics, a standardized one, such that when you're presenting and you're being asked, what is the metrics that you use in evaluating this model? You can say, oh, it has gone through a rigorous research. So we can start thinking of some standardized evaluation metrics to evaluate all this system. User experience and accessibility is something that is very important to me. Uh, Despite being computer literate, I don't disturb myself. I don't disturb myself to like try and learn something, I just explore to see how the user interface, am I able to understand how to use this? Like, for example, when I was buying things on those Chinese app, the Taboa, Pinduoduo, okay, to an extent, some of those app looks like something we are familiar with. The only thing I have to do is to use Google Translate to translate in real time. But to an extent, what I found interesting on all those applications is that they put user experience, as in you have a form of good feel after you use it, most especially when you're chatting with the sellers. The seller, to an extent, respond almost immediately when you contact them. They guide you through your selection. So I don't have to hide such in a specific place and make it difficult for my customers to be able to access. You have to ensure that such user interface is good. Then it can also support multilingual, then it has some form of accessibility features and feedback mechanism, which is very important. Uh, okay, thank you, Ben. Some, somebody said, like, customers that complain to you help you better than those that keep quiet. So it is good to put feedback mechanism in this system. Yeah, thank you so much for your time. And stop sharing now. Oh,
Thank you very much, Christiana. Thank you so much for sharing with us from your wealth of knowledge and experience. So it's now time for Q&A. If you have any questions, you have the option of dropping your question on the chat box, or you could indicate by raising your hand and then unmuting your mic and to speak. Any questions from the house?
I guess we don't really have questions because most of our guys they've dropped off because it's like almost time for us to just round up. Um, yeah, but meanwhile, that was an interesting session. I actually got some point and some areas I didn't really think about earlier. You know, most of the time, I don't know if you can hear me, Christina.
yes, please, I can hear you.
Yeah, most of the time, I most of the platforms or solutions I've built, if I'm doing translation, I do mostly from one language to English, then from that English to the other language. It's more like a three-way channel. But I actually have been thinking about a way of making that cycle shorter. But then you talk about the direct translation from maybe Igbo to Hausa direct without having to go to English, then English to Hausa. I mean, that's something I would love to really explore. And since it's something you've actually thought about and done some research, I think I would love to have more conversation on that with you. I never knew it's something you've actually thought about. So thank you for that eye-opener. And thank you for this session as well. I I like people from research or from academia sometimes because, or most times actually, because you think different from us, the industry guys. As much as I don't like to go into the academic world, but when I get to interact with you guys, I like because you see things from a different perspective. So thank you very much for that session once again. Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you for your comments. Thank you, and thank you for the invitation.
yeah. So Neka, you can just round up so we call it off. Okay, I don't know, maybe she didn't hear that. Okay, so we've come to the end of today's session. Most of us already dropped off, that's fine, but also the recording will be made available on our channel. So for those who couldn't watch, we could as well, they can as well go back and we can always rewatch the session and share. So thank you once again, Christina. We hope to have you next time here. All right. So have a good evening over there. All right. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.